What if one ordinary-looking coin in your pocket change holds the heartbeat of America's 200th birthday and a story powerful enough to make collectors' hands tremble? Imagine pulling out a quarter, just 25 cents. But this one doesn't feel ordinary. The date reads 1776 to 1976. On the back, a young colonial drummer boy pounds his drum beneath a sky of stars, torch in hand, as if calling an entire nation to remember who they are. That coin you're looking at right now? It's not just money, it's a time capsule, a frozen moment when America paused, looked back 2 centuries, and dared to dream forward. And for some collectors, it's quietly worth far more than face value. Today, we're diving deep into the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Quarter, a coin that millions have held, but few have truly seen. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. The year was 1975. America was gearing up for its biggest birthday party in history, the Bicentennial. The nation had survived wars, depression, social upheaval. Now it wanted to celebrate resilience, freedom, and the unbreakable spirit that started with drums beating in the night on Lexington and Concord. The U.S. Mint made a bold decision. For the first time in decades, they would change the reverse of the Washington Quarter for this special occasion. No more boring eagle. Instead, something alive. Something that felt like history marching forward. Enter designer Jack L.R. His winning design, a colonial drummer boy, colonial drumsticks flying, a victory torch blazing behind him, 13 stars overhead representing the original colonies. On the front, George Washington still stares forward with quiet strength, but now the date boldly declares 1776 to 1976. A bridge across 2 centuries. Close your eyes and picture it. The coin freshly struck, gleaming under mint lights. Millions of them pouring out like a metallic river of memory. Over 1.6 billion of these quarters were ultimately produced. That's right, more than 1.5 billion. Yet somehow they still feel rare when you hold one that's perfectly preserved. Now zoom in on the details most people miss. On the obverse, Washington's portrait by John Flanagan looks slightly more dramatic against that dual date. Liberty arcs proudly above, In God We Trust, and the years sit below. But flip it over. The drummer boy isn't just sitting there. His uniform, the tension in his arms, the folds of the drum, every line carries emotion. Look closely at the torch flames. Notice how the stars seem to explode outward like fireworks over Philadelphia in 1776. And those tiny letters, United States of America and $quarter, frame the scene like a stage. This wasn't just a coin. It was public art. It was a love letter to the past, dropped into every cash register in America. But here's where the real intrigue begins. Most bicentennial quarters you find are the common clad version, copper nickel layers over a copper core. They feel lighter, more every day. But the Mint also struck special silver-clad versions for collectors and proof sets. Those 40% silver ones have a different weight, a different ring when you tap them, and a deeper, more luxurious luster that makes collectors' hearts race. Mint marks tell their own story. No mint mark, Philadelphia. A D, Denver. An S, San Francisco. And those often came in proof or silver versions that collectors hunted from day one. Production numbers were massive. Philadelphia struck over 809 million, Denver over 860 million. San Francisco's collector versions were far fewer, yet even with those huge numbers, certain coins have become legendary. High-grade examples in MS-67 or MS-68 condition, coins that survived decades without a single bagmark, scratch, or dull spot, can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands. The absolute finest silver proofs have sold for over $19,000 at auction, not because they're impossibly rare in quantity, but because perfection in a coin, this old feels almost miraculous. Now, imagine the hidden details most people completely ignore. Run your finger along the edge. That reeded edge feels like tiny armor. Check the drummer's drum for full strike. On many examples, the top rim of the drum or the clasp can be softly struck. When you find one with every detail razor sharp, That's when numismatists start whispering. Some coins show subtle doubling on letters or stars, minor varieties that serious collectors chase. And yes, rare mint errors do exist. Off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchets. Those can turn a 25-cent coin into a 4- or 5-figure treasure. But remember, most errors people find online are just damage. Real ones are authenticated and documented. Condition is everything in this hobby. A circulated Bicentennial Quarter might only be worth face value or a small premium, but one that looks like it just left the mint. That's when the magic happens. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC become the judges. They assign numbers from 1 to 70. Anything above MS65 starts getting serious attention. MS68? You're in unicorn territory. Why do people get so emotionally attached to these coins? Because they're not just metal, they're connection. Think about your grandparents. Maybe they received one and change in 1976 while buying fireworks or watching tall ships sail into harbors. Maybe a parent tucked one into a birthday card with a note. Never forget where we came from. Every time you hold a pristine 1776 to 1976 quarter, you're touching the optimism of a nation that believed in its future even after turbulent times. That drummer boy isn't just playing. He's reminding you that freedom has always required courage, rhythm, and heart. Collectors aren't just chasing dollars, they're chasing stories. They're building collections that tell the American journey. And this coin sits right in the middle of it. A bridge between revolutionary past and modern present. So what should you do if you find one? First, look closely. Check the date, mint mark, and condition. If it's in beautiful shape, protect it. Don't clean it. That destroys value. Consider getting it graded if it looks exceptional. And remember, the silver versions and high-grade pieces are where real value lives. But even the common ones carry something priceless. History you can hold in your hand. Wait. What if that random quarter you got as change last week is actually one of the special ones? What if thousands of people are walking around with sleeping treasures and don't even know it? The coin collecting world is full of these quiet surprises. One sharp eye and a little knowledge can change everything. As we wrap up this journey, picture that drummer boy again. He's still drumming, still calling across the centuries. His rhythm hasn't stopped. It echoes in every American who refuses to forget. The 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Quarter isn't rare in the way a 1937 three-legged buffalo nickel is, but it's powerful in a deeper way. It reminds us that history isn't locked in museums. It circulates. It lives in our pockets, our stories, and our choices. Next time you get one in change, don't just spend it. Pause. Feel its weight. Look into Washington's eyes and the drummer's determination. You're holding 200 years of American spirit in 25 cents worth of metal. That's the real value. If this story lit a spark in you, hit that like button. It helps more people discover these hidden pieces of history. Subscribe and turn on notifications because we're hunting more valuable coins, forgotten stories, and sleeping treasures in every episode. Drop a comment right now. Do you have a 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Quarter? What condition is it in? Have you ever found one that felt special? Tell us your story below, because somewhere out there, that next legendary coin is waiting, maybe even in your drawer tonight. Thanks for watching. Keep looking down. Keep wondering. America's story is still being told, one coin at a time.